Crowned at 9, murdered at 19, and his killer wore the crown next. Imagine trusting the man who raised you, only to learn he killed your father and now wants your throne. In the heart of ancient Egypt, where gods whispered through temple stones and power pulsed beneath golden crowns, a child was born not into peace, but into a kingdom shattered by heresy. His name was Tutankhamun, son of the infamous Pharaoh Akhenaten, who had declared war on Egypt's ancient gods. The sun disk Aten replaced Amun. Temples were stripped and priests silenced. It was a revolution and a betrayal. Akhenaten's rule ended in mystery. Some say illness, others whisper murder, a cup of wine, a prayer unanswered, a vizier's quiet smile. That vizier's name was Ai. When Akhenaten died, Ai moved swiftly. The child Tutankhamun was crowned pharaoh, just 9 years old, and quietly renamed Tutankhamun to appease the old gods. But Tutankhamun was a puppet. In the shadows, Ai ruled, whispering in the young king's ear, while General Horemheb kept the army close and the priests fed. The queen Ankhesenamun watched them all, smart, afraid, trapped. Tutankhamun was no longer a child. He had grown into a curious, determined young man. And with age came questions, dangerous questions. He wanted to know the truth about his father's death. The stories he'd been told as a boy no longer made sense. Quietly, he began to investigate, speaking to old servants, searching temple records, reading scrolls hidden in locked chambers. Piece by piece, a shadowy picture emerged. His father had not died from a curse or illness, but by the hand of another. And every lead, every whisper, every fragment of evidence pointed to one man, Ai, the very advisor who had raised him. But Tutankhamun had no solid proof. One night, overcome with anger, he confronted Ai directly. The vizier's eyes were cold as stone. "You are still young," Ai said. "You play with fire you do not understand." He denied everything. When Tutankhamun told his mother, Queen Ankhesenamun, she was shaken. She urged him to stop. "Some truth will destroy you," she warned. "Let the past rest." But he refused. His father's spirit cried out for justice, and he would not silence it. Ai saw the danger growing. The boy was close to uncovering everything. So Ai acted, quietly, ruthlessly. One morning, the palace awoke to the news. The boy king was dead, officially an accident. In truth, Ai had orchestrated his murder. With the throne empty, Ai moved swiftly. He took Ankhesenamun as his wife. The queen was forced into this union, not out of love, but out of fear. For Ai knew her deepest secret. Tutankhamun was not Akhenaten's true son. Years ago, she had lain with another man in the palace, and the boy's blood was not royal. Ai's knowledge bound her like chains. She carried her grief in silence, the loss of her husband, then her son. The burden grew too heavy. Not long after the marriage, she ended her own life. Years passed. Egypt moved on. Ai aged and died. Horemheb took the throne next and began erasing the heretic kings from history. But the past doesn't stay buried forever. In secret, a boy had survived. Kamwaset, a child servant in the palace, silent, observant. What no one knew was that he was the son of Tutankhamun, born in secret just before the king's death, raised in the shadows, watched by loyalists, protected. When he came of age, he became a priest, a scribe, a traveler, and finally, a seeker of truth. Kamwaset began digging. Old scrolls, hidden tombs, forbidden names carved under plaster. He began to see the pattern, the poison, the lies. He uncovered a letter written by his grandmother, Ankhesenamun, to a Hittite king. He found the merchant who had vanished the year Tutankhamun died. And he found something darker, a surviving ring engraved with the royal seal of Ai tucked inside the bones of a murdered courier.
The truth was within reach, but the empire had not forgotten. Even decades later, Ai's loyalists remained, hidden in temples, disguising their allegiance with prayers. They watched Kaimwazet, and when he came too close, they struck. An ambush in the desert, a forged scroll labeling him a traitor. His name was marked. Horemheb's court declared him mad, a false prophet. But Kaimwazet was his father's son and his mother's vengeance. He vanished into legend. Some say he fled to Nubia, building a hidden temple to keep the truth safe. Some say he became a priest of Thoth, guarding the sacred balance of truth and deception. Others say he died in the desert, whispering the names of those erased from time. But in hidden tombs across Egypt, his name appears in secret glyphs carved into stone. I am the blood of the boy king. I remember, and I remember you. Thousands of years later, in 1922, a British explorer uncovered a sealed tomb, Tutankhamun, still intact, still golden. Within, a mask stared back at humanity, solemn, youthful, powerful. DNA tests revealed something shocking. Tutankhamun's bloodline did not match Akhenaten's. The ancient whispers were true. His mother's secret had outlived empires, the very secret that had given Ai his power. The press called it a curse, but perhaps it was a warning. The past is not buried, the truth is not dead, and the sands remember everything.